Welcome back to the regular podcast. It's anything but. Today we return with another review for the newest MCU installment, Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings. Spoiler filled. What are you guys' first impressions?
That's right. You said you guys, we bringing back a special guest. This dude hasn't been here since what the DCEU rewatch. Let's get a round
Yeah,
of
since we ended the
applause.
MCU,
Let's get a round
he
of
didn't do
applause for
that.
Davis. He's back. If any,
Sir.
Ooh,
all four of you that remember him, he's back. Let's get right into Shang-Chi.
Okay, back to your question. What was it? First impressions?
yeah. What were you guys' first impressions?
Great film.
Yeah, if,
Good
if,
9
we're,
out of
if, we're,
10.
if we're being honest, walking out of that theater, that was just like as soon as credits started rolling, I was like, this is top 5 Marvel. This is at least anywhere
Really?
from top 10 to top 5 Marvel. Because that's just, like, just watching that all the way through, that was a good movie. That's just,
Mm-hmm.
that's the start of Phase 4 right there, the true Phase 4 quality.
I'd probably say like the first fourth of the movie didn't even feel like Marvel. But once you
Yeah,
got to later
definitely.
parts of it, it definitely brought out the more tropey Marvel, but it was still good.
I agree with you. I thought I mean the hype overtook me for this movie. I think both of you guys know that we watch the trailer every day, and
Or we literally watch the trailer every day.
I was starting to watch it twice. I watched it twice. Davis, did you get a moment to watch it twice?
No, I haven't watched it twice.
Alright, well, you don't need to watch it twice if you
well,
have a good memory like me.
I
But
mean, well, I like my first impressions of it from my first viewing. I thought that it was a very great film. I didn't think that it was top 10, and on my second viewing, most of my opinions still stand. I don't think that it's top 5, but I definitely think that it's top 10 MCU films. And it does do a great job of representing Asian culture and all of that great stuff.
Something that actually surprised me is the director has never done anything like this before. And for it to have
Hmm.
such an amazing outcome, they need to bring him back.
this is top 5 Marvel for me just because it's one of those unique films. Like Marvel is very tropey. Like they all have like pretty much like the same arc. They have you have your generic solo movies, you have the origin stories, and then you have the team up movies. This is like that one movie where it feels like everything from just like shot composition to just action fighting, everything is just so different from this movie, and it really just feels like this could have been made by like some independent studio, just not attached to like this is in the same universe as MCU stuff like Endgame, Infinity War. I feel like this movie is that good at just being like a standalone film.
Yeah, and I mean the story is of that same caliber that you're speaking of. I thought that the story was grand and epic and scale, and then like I said, they mixed in the Asian culture and the Asian mythology into it as well. I thought the Legend of the Ten Rings was pretty great, and that we learned that they are like very ancient, powerful relics, and they are like on the same caliber of like the Living Tribunal or the Eye of Agamotto to Doctor Strange. So like they're these artifacts that you know they're important to the MCU essentially.
I like how they went even farther with cultural representation to have at least a half of the movie in Chinese. I thought that was amazing, and you
Yeah.
really don't see many other films doing things like that now.
Yeah, usually whenever we go to, and this is really just something for all movies, no matter what country you're in, whether it be Germany, Russia, South America, they're always speaking English, but with an accent. Like so many things,
Mm-hmm.
they want to mainstream different cultures and things, and it's honestly kind of hard to understand. Like, yo, this is a representation of a different place on the earth when when they're speaking the same language of you. So I feel from the very
Mm-hmm.
first like movie, just the first 15 minutes of this movie is just like straight Mandarin Chinese. Like it's all Chinese. You got to
Yeah.
read the subtitles, and
Yeah.
I feel like that really does draw you in to be like, okay, like they're actually trying really hard to like make this seem genuine. Like this is Chinese folklore and history, and I feel like the movie really gets a win for representation on that front.
Mm-hmm. And I also like the well, I mean, it's a very simple story. A story about a guy who has to come back home, and
It's just
his
the
father
prodigal
wants
son.
him.
It's the prodigal son trope.
It's basically that. Yeah, it's basically one of those tropes. But I like what they do with it in the sense that it is very interesting. I think that the first half of this film, like the first act of this movie, is very great of like telling that story of like this is his life basically, but there's something mysterious about him that we don't know, and then we learn more about that as the story unfolds. So
Yeah.
I think that they did a great job with that aspect.
On that, Marvel doesn't usually do something like they'll throw you into the middle of something without giving you much prior knowledge. Of course, the movie started giving you some prior knowledge, but when we met our protagonist, we didn't really know anything about him, and they don't usually do
Mm-mm.
things like that,
Yeah,
which was
usually
a really
Marvel,
nice refresh.
like the Marvel formula is like you'll start off with the movie cold open, you'll get some random scene, which things for that we'll explain later. You'll get the Marvel sequence, and then we'll open with our protagonist. But like no, this
Yeah, it'd
movie,
be
this
Yeah,
like the cold open would be like a flashback or something
yeah,
like that to like them as a child.
this movie opens up.
which they did have.
This is one of the early, I think this is just one of those Marvel movies that opens like directly with the Marvel Studios logo. Like there's nothing before it, like it goes straight into Marvel Studios. And
Black Widow did it.
I don't know if that was straight just for theatrical or if that was like how it's gonna be on like Blu-ray and stuff too. But
Yeah, it's gonna be like that on
I like how
Blu-ray.
we spend like a good like 20 to 15 minutes just with our villain and just like setting up this backstory for like pretty much the 10 rings because like in this 20 minutes they essentially have to like retcon the 10 rings from more than this terrorist group that they were in Iron Man 3 and 1.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, and I like the fact that they did that. But like going to like what David said about meeting our protagonist, he's a good protagonist.
yeah,
I can't wait to
Is
see him more inside of the future. His character and also all the characters in the film. I can't wait to see more of them.
Simu Liu and really just everyone in this movie, like they carry just like the charisma and like stage presence as if they've been in the Marvel universe the whole time. Like I feel like these people are gonna
Hmm.
have like no problem just integrating with the pool of characters that we already have. Like I like so, like I like you guys know before the movie was coming out, I was like, oh my god, Aquafina's gonna ruin this movie. It's gonna be so cringy.
bro,
But no,
bro. I thought the same thing.
she's one of the greater characters in the movie.
Bro, we thought from those trailers that her jokes weren't gonna land. Oh boy, were we wrong.
We were most definitely wrong. We had the entire theater, and like keep in mind, everyone listen, we all went and saw this at the same theater. So
Hmm.
our whole theater experience, like that, probably had something to do with it. Like every joke, I feel like every joke landed. I can't really think of one joke in the movie that came from her that I was like, all right, that wasn't really that funny. Because I feel like they
Hmm.
really handled her well. She wasn't just joking all the time. She wasn't just a joke character. Like she had her own little side arc to go with.
Yeah,
Hmm.
she was actually useful in the movie, unlike some side characters.
Luis.
Hmm.
Or should I say? Actually, I don't even know what else to say other than that.
I I mean Aquafina, I've only seen her in two things up to this point. I've seen her in Raya and the Last Dragon and Jumanji 2. And in those movies I didn't like her very
Yeah,
much.
exactly.
But in this movie, yeah, I enjoyed her. I liked her jokes and everything like that. I love the fact that her arc is very present inside of the film and like in almost every scene that she's in, that arc gets layered and layered even more. And then it comes to the final battle where, she's really the hero of it because of that arc that they set up in the beginning of the film with that scene with her and her family. And also is very it pays homages to like Asian families in general about Asian parents
Tiger
wanting their
parenting.
children to do greater
That's what it
things.
is, tiger parenting.
Yeah.
Like, everyone knows the stereotype where like Asian parents will be like super hard on their children because they are
Hmm.
first generation immigrants and obviously they want their children to succeed and be the best. So I feel like they did like super good job at that. Like even you have Shang-Chi's side where his dad wants him to be like the head of this organization and he trained him to kill from the moment he was born, just like Suicide Squad. And then you have Katie on the other hand, where her family wants her to really step up and like thinks being just a valet driver isn't a very no good profession. So I feel like they really
It's
handled
beneath
that.
them, really.
Yeah,
Being a valet driver is really
so I
beneath
feel
them.
like
They want them to do something
they really
more.
handled that tiger parenting dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, the family dynamics, all of it worked for me. But I would say like the standout character is Tony Leung as Wenwu.
Yeah,
I thought that him as the father, as this, because I say this, well, I'm saying this now. This story is really about a father and his family. That's what I get from
and
this
I feel
movie.
like this is another character that can go in the pool of sympathetic villains. Like I feel like
Yeah.
he's up there with the villains, like next to Killmonger, Vulture, stuff like that. Because like when we get to the end, when you get to his death, like you are kind of feeling bad, and then you remember like, this dude's been like a terrorist for like like 1,000 years. Like
That's what I was about to say.
he's not a
He's
good
very
guy.
sympathetic. He's sympathetic. He's sympathetic,
But the thing
but he's
is,
also
he's not
very
really a
villainous at
villain
the
throughout
end.
the movie. Like you hear of this stuff he's
He's an
done.
antagonist.
You hear of the stuff he's done, and you
Yeah,
see the stuff. You see the stuff that he's done with him going into
you
that
could
restaurant, killing
definitely
people.
say antagonist, but I would not say
Yeah,
villain.
when he's in the present, and you see him acting, he's really not evil. Like he's not really doing anything overtly evil.
I just feel like he's one of those characters that think. Well, this is literally something that pertains to him, but he's one of those characters who thinks what he's doing is right,
Yeah,
but it's actually wrong.
he's not
He's just one of those characters.
over the top, and then you actually can sympathize with his character. So I feel like he's an A+ villain for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just love the fact that what they did with Tony Leon's characters Winwoo, what they did with him, just showing him going from this terrorist to father and having him try to decide between which one that he's going to be. Is he going to be this terrorist who, kills people, or does he want to be this father? And obviously he chose the rings over his children because the rings gave him power. So he's this guy who wants power, but also wants to be there for his children. And he just can't choose between which one because the power is just really too great at this point. So I love the fact that they focused on that. But
Yeah,
also Shang-Chi's sister was pretty great.
Zhao Zilin.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
feel
is
like she was really good. Like, was it known before the movie came out that they were siblings? Was that known?
no,
I
no.
didn't know that.
Probably not. If you guys don't, you guys might not know this, but this movie was kind of a weird one for comic book readers because of how different the movie adaptation is from the comics. Like in the comics, he doesn't have one sister; he has five, and
Yeah.
the sister that is in this movie is specially created for the movie. So this was something new to even comic book readers. And also another thing that was different about the film was in the comics, the 10 rings are actually rings
Yeah,
that go
Yeah.
on the fingers.
they're more
Which was
bracelets.
also,
Movie,
yeah, they're definitely more
but I
bracelets
don't
in the
feel like
movie.
the 10 bracelets has the same power to it.
Yeah, but honestly, I kind of preferred it this way because if you've seen photos of the Mandarin with the rings on his fingers, I actually think the way it looks in the films is actually, I mean, in the film is
I
actually
think it's safe to assume.
better.
I think in the future they're just gonna make the rings polymorphic, where they can just like change size at will. So I feel like
They already
Um,
do that in the movie.
they already do
so
that.
like he can shrink them down to
Also,
his fingers if he wanted to.
one other thing that
Oh,
I really want them to explore later on is you probably know this already since you knew about it being on the fingers. Each ring actually has a different power, which is something I want them to explore in a sequel or any future MCU movie.
Yeah, we can say that for later though.
most likely they may do that. But yeah, as far as his sister goes, I mean, I thought her character was all right. I liked the fact what they did with her in the end of the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But she turns out to be very villainous at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
Actually,
I don't know.
that's also very
She could be
comically-
trying to reform the 10 rings, but we don't know. We'll just have to see.
that is also very comically canonical.
Yes.
what
Her
with her being
sisters-
evil?
Her sisters were I don't want to say evil in the comics, but they were more sinister with what they did, and also after the Mandarin died, the same kind of thing happened.
Okay. Well, I mean, speaking of villainous, I mean the villains. There are only two villains in this film, really.
Yeah.
Are you counting
really
Razor
have
Fist?
Wenwu
Not
and-
counting Razor Fist.
The Razor Fist falls under Wenwu. Like he's an extension
Yeah,
of
I guess.
Wenwu.
Yeah.
Of
I actually
Wenwu-
didn't know this, but Razor Fist is actually an X-Men villain.
Yeah, he's fought Wolverine.
X-Men
Before.
and
I know
Shang-Chi.
that he fought Wolverine in Mad Report, I believe. But yeah, we have the soul suckers. What are they? Yeah, soul suckers, right?
Yeah. The soul
Soul
suckers.
Honestly, surprised. Because honestly, if you boil it down, they're just CGI faceless monsters.
Mhm.
Faceless monsters. But I feel like just having it's clear you can really see what's going on. I feel like a lot of the MCU movies, like I feel like Infinity War and Endgame, even have this problem is that the final battle, everything's a very similar color palette, so it's actually kind of hard to tell, like, all right, what's going on at this moment. But due to the fact that this film isn't shot with what much shaky cam, and everything is in bright contrasting colors, it's really easy to tell the difference between the opposing sides. So I feel like that made the final battle between the Soul Suckers and the village really interesting.
Definitely.
Well, before you get into the final battle, what I forgot the name of the big dragon. It was
Mega
the
Soul
big
Sucker.
soul sucking
That's
dragon,
what it was. It
the
was
Mega
Mega
The
Soul
Soul
Sucker.
Sucker.
I guess you can call it that. Yeah, that's
uh
his name.
I
Yeah.
can't remember.
It's called the Mega Soul Sucker. Anyway, the Mega
Or no,
Soul Sucker,
no, I
that
remember. It's called the Dweller in Darkness.
Yeah, but we're gonna
the
call it the
Dweller
Mega
in
Soul
Darkness.
Sucker.
That's what it is. The Mega
That's what
Soul
it's called.
Sucker. That's trademark. Um, the Mega Soul Sucker. Um, as a villain, as an antagonist, okay, I guess I don't. I guess if you wanted to go that big in a Shang-Chi movie, yeah, you bring in the Mega Soul Sucker. But I thought that the Soul Suckers worked for me because that made the villains actually take kill counts. Like you actually have kill counts inside of this film. So the
Yeah.
people who got their souls taken, they're dead. They're dead forever.
On.
So there's a bunch of dead bodies lying around. So I like the fact that that happened with the villains, and then I just think that Wenwu was just the best villain inside of this film. He was the villain that I gravitated more towards too, but Mega Soul Sucker, no, not as much.
Yeah, fair point.
On the Dweller in Darkness, people are speculating that the Dweller in Darkness could be Fin Fang Foom, which I disagree with.
Nah.
But I don't think it's Fin Fang Foom, even though they have similar powers like telepathy and they kind of look the same a little bit. Not really though. Um, I still think it was a good final boss, especially with the CGI. The CGI was, oh my god, dude.
Yeah,
That was some
that was
top
some top
tier
tier stuff. That was
CGI.
some top
Like
tier stuff.
Disney, oh my god, keep doing what you're doing, please.
You guys think so?
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. I mean, if you guys think so, then that's just what you guys think. But let's move right into the third act aspect about this and typical Marvel third act. Just
Typical Marvel,
typical.
but it's better. But it's better.
Unique,
I'm gonna say it,
definitely.
controversial opinion. This is better than the Infinity War final battle in Wakanda. Infinity War, you guys know I do not like the final battle in Wakanda.
I
It's
would probably say with the fight scenes, 100%, because I feel like Infinity War kind of lacked in that aspect. It was kind of more of
yeah,
a
everything on Titan,
plot-driven final battle.
I feel like that's where most of it went to. But
Infinity War was definitely.
In Wakanda, you just have everything's brown, everything's all shaky. You can't really see what's going on. But I feel like in this battle, everything in this third act, everything's visually clear, so you can see what's everything. The fight between Wenwu and Shang-Chi, like I feel like that's some of just the most interesting choreography in the MCU because of just all the different things that you can do with the 10 rings. Like you have Wenwu like sending them into the ground, have them snake around and then come up. Then you have Shang-Chi taking them from him and then using them to like propel himself upwards into a kick. So I feel like this final
Yes.
battle.
I think that the third act. Why reason why I say typical Marvel is because it's very CGI heavy, and in a film like Shang-Chi, where it has a lot of hand-to-hand combat, you kind of want a little bit of something personal for Shang-Chi. I mean, this is a ground
I feel
level
like we got more than
superhero.
enough of
Yeah.
that.
One thing I
I mean,
didn't like about the third act was the fact that as soon as he got the rings, he knew exactly what he was doing. That is just
that's what I'm
completely
saying.
unrealistic. That's my only issue, like big issue with the third act, is that he should not have known what he was doing, especially when he did that one move when he freaking stood on the rings to punch his dad. Like, what the hell? Has this man been using these rings in secret for the past like 50 years?
I mean, and then think about it. You go just from that scene. Okay, that scene was great. I like the fact that they're fighting with the rings. They're
Yes.
utilizing the rings perfectly. I like that. And then you go to a big dragon fight where there's a big soul sucking dragon, and Shang-Chi and his sister are riding on the dragon. It's cool, but it's one of those big MCU final battles that Marvel Studios, they already pre-planned this battle. Like this battle wasn't made by the director. The director just shaped his story around it. So I think that when you get into the bigger stuff with the two dragons, that becomes a little bit heavy-handed than an actual father versus son fight that works for the theme and that works for the story. And you just get that. I get it. He has to make up for his father's sins, and I get the reason why they did it. but it's a very typical MCU battle. I mean, just look at Black Widow. That is a ground level superhero, and
Trash.
she's
Sorry.
flying through cities. She's flying through the sky. She's taking
But
a base from the sky.
now
It's
I'm thinking about it. I had one little. I don't know if you could really call this an issue because, to be honest, I don't really care that much. But when it comes to plot, seeing your dad die, you gotta have a little bit more emotion than that.
You got to
You can't just
think
kind of brush
he's
it off.
been hiding from his dad for
But
years, bro. His
but
dad's like a murderer to him.
but the thing is that I could never understand emotionally what he thought about his dad. So if he harbored so much hatred for his dad that he kind of brushed it off, that's fine. But that's just my take on it.
what in my opinion, I thought that him not having that much emotion was all right, only in a sense because throughout the entire movie, we saw flashbacks of how much he hated his dad, how much of the bad stuff that he's seen of his dad. So throughout the movie, when we were getting up to this conclusion with his dad before his dad dies, we've only seen the bad stuff. When his dad is dying, we see the good stuff. So when somebody is leaving your life, you only think of the good stuff, really, before you think of the bad stuff. So I think that him thinking about it, like thinking about the good stuff and looking at his dad dying, he's like, okay, dang, my dad, he did do some good stuff. He did do some stuff right by me and my sister. But at the end of the day, from the moment I was 7 and onwards, he's just been this cruel person who's been cold and wasn't really there for us.
I think him having that emotional detachment, like he's obviously not gonna bawl his eyes out for this guy who's he's essentially been hiding from, and has been constantly throughout the movie just sending people to kill him, locking him away in prison. And like his dad is this huge terrorist, and like obviously he's still your father, so you have that like one longing moment with him, yeah. But I feel like that's the most Winru really deserved, because you got to remember, like this dude is like the Mandarin, like this he's not a good guy. He doesn't deserve like this hero's redemption death, but he is still his father. So I saw that like I feel like it was enough of like him. Like I didn't expect him to bawl his eyes out for his dad, but I didn't expect him to be like, all right, whatever, I don't care. So I feel like they really just had it perfectly fine with his reaction.
Well, with that being said, let's move right into the negatives of the film. If you guys have any,
We just spent the last like 5 minutes on negatives.
not really. We was on the third act. We were still talking about the third act. So
I mean,
so that means you guys had a lot of negatives on the third act.
That was pretty much negatives. I got no negatives with this film. I'll tell
I
you
have
that.
no negatives. I have no negatives pre third act because that was just like bliss.
Only negative I have, only negative I have is I wanted to see more unique things with the Ten Rings being done. But that's just a nitpick. I really have no negatives with this movie.
I mean, it is called the 10 Rings, so maybe if he had the 10 rings for a little longer than that last 10 minutes of the fight.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see that in Shang-Chi 2 or wherever he pops up next.
Well, unlike you guys, I have negatives. Okay, I got some negatives.
Last 2 guys explaining what was bad with the third act, but alright.
Number one, the first act is great. The third act, typical Marvel third act, but it was all right. The second act, it was very MCU template like. The movie has that MCU template. Number one.
Elaborate.
Number one, the second act is very expository in a sense that we just like the whole movie is really fast paced. The pacing is weird for me inside of that second act. Because the first act is great. We got some great action sequences, moving the story along. Third act is all right. They're concluding the story. The second act is really just expository until the last couple of minutes where he's like, all right, I'm going to kill him. But the second act is just about Shang-Chi and his sister and Katie coming into like his mother's little habitat, her home, and then them just like, having a training montage and, living in it for like a day. And then next day they have to fight their father. So in my opinion, I gotta say that was the weakest part of the movie, that second act.
What was the end of the first act?
The end of the first act was when...
to me, that's when they go to Hong Kong. Or where did they go? Was it Hong
Kong?
Macau?
When Wenwu picks him up. No, I think when Wenwu picks him up.
When Wenwu picks him up, that's the start of the second act to me.
Yeah, so that's the end of the first act, start of the second act.
Same thing, I guess.
Second act, very negative for me.
Right,
and also in the sense that Shang-Chi's sister they try a little bit too hard to make it seem like she's this big female
Bro, what?
empowerment woman.
What?
I do
You on
I do
God?
believe that.
Are you on
Who?
Jaw?
Yeah,
Oh, I got no
that's a
Is she
mix
sense
for
his
me.
of.
sister?
I got
Yeah,
no
that's a mix
sense
for me.
of. I got no
Yeah, that's a
sense
mix
of
for me.
she's a strong female woman.
What?
Number one, that's the whole point of her character.
Yeah, but you're
That's the
saying
whole
if
point of
it
her
was a
character.
bad
That's
thing,
why I said
If
it's the mix.
anything, I thought her origin was more
bro, the
laid back
typical
than most
stuff
of the other
women
characters.
good stuff. I'm thinking of Endgame where she's got help, or
Yeah, that
Batwoman
was a weak moment
when
too.
it fits a woman. I think
That was
Zhao
a weak
Zuling,
moment
she
too.
was like strong, independent character without having to just be better than him unnaturally. I think it makes sense that she's better than him because she's been running this fighting ring for like essentially the last 10 years, while he's
I'm
been
not
parking
talking.
cars in valet. So I
I'm
don't get
not
what you're
talking about
talking. Then what
better.
are you talking about?
Number one. I'm not talking about better as in she's doing better than him after they ran away. I'm talking about the sense that in almost every dialogue of hers, they're like, "Well, you left, and I had to make this company on my own.
Yeah,
So what?" I'm like, okay,
that makes
yeah, I get
sense.
that, but you already showed me that.
What's
No,
the
I'm like,
issue?
but you already showed me that though.
You expect her to just get
I
rid of that?
if anything,
You want
that
her,
line of dialogue did more work for Katie's character, Aquafina's character,
bro? Stone just
than for
hates
her
women,
own to
bro.
me.
Stone just hates
That's just
women.
me. Didn't I
Yo,
just say her
The
line of
dude
dialogue
abandoned
just did more for
Shang-Chi
Katie's
abandoned
character?
her. He abandoned her 10 years ago, and she just shows up, and you expect her to not like hold that over his head? Yeah,
I never said
She's gonna keep
I
bringing it
never
up.
said
You said
I
that she
never
kept
said
bringing it up in every
what?
conversation.
No, I didn't.
All right,
Oh
I'll play
my
the clip. I'll
god,
play that
you
clip
did
right
not
now.
understand. You did
Then
not
elaborate, son.
understand
Then
what I
now we're getting
elaborate.
heated in
Then
here.
elaborate.
you did not
Then
understand what I
elaborate,
said,
bro.
did you? What I said was I never thought that her character was a bad character. I just thought that in every scene she was talking about, well, you left, so I had to make this on my own. Well, I had to do this on my own. Well, I had to do this on my own. Okay, I get that. You already showed me that. That
While I
line of
see where
dialogue
you're coming
doesn't
from,
do that line of dialogue doesn't do anything for your character because I've already seen that. That line
well,
of dialogue does more for Katie's character than it does for you. That's
while I
what I'm
see
saying.
where you're coming from, I have to disagree because it's just not true.
Yeah, so I feel like
And
you really.
also,
I'll let
if her
Davis let me finish.
drive,
I just gotta interject this thing. Yeah, so I feel like you're exaggerating it where every sentence she's talking about bringing it up. But, yeah, go ahead, Davis. Go ahead.
um, if she had any other reason for, I don't want to say hatred, but any other discontents
And
for
then pretty
Shang-Chi,
much.
um, if she had more than just that, I feel like it would have convoluted the story a bit because we wouldn't have cared as much. So she had to have that one sense of discontent with him. It couldn't be anything more or anything less. I think it was fine the way it was. It didn't need to be changed. And no, she didn't say it every scene. That's just wrong. I know you
I
were
feel
just
like it was
exaggerating with
justified
that.
though. I feel like it was
Yeah,
justified for her to bring it
it
up
was justified. It was
because
justified
he left her.
because when I think in hindsight, I can't remember her saying that more than like maybe twice or maybe three
I
times. But
rewatched
that's
the
really
movie
pushing it.
today. It really was not like an overbearing thing. Like, yeah, she brought it up, but it makes sense. Like, he left you after saying he'd be back in 3 days, like without a trace, not even a goodbye, for 10 years. And then, so yeah, obviously, your
I
father's
think what
gonna be
Sterling,
hard on you because you're the only child left.
I'm not
I,
talking about him leaving. That's not what
Well,
I'm talking about.
the thing that I believe you're referring to is they showed the flashback, and then she talked about it after the flashback had already revealed that he said, "I'll be back in 3 days." If you're talking about that, I can understand, but
I'm also
still, that
talking
really
about
doesn't make sense because
I'm
that's only
also
two
talking about the
times.
fact that she beat him in the fight. Okay, that shows that she's more skilled than him. That shows that she's doing more stuff than him. But then they also go to a scene with her and Katie, and she's like, "Well, yeah, he left, and I had to build this empire on my own. I had to do
I
this,
feel like
this,
you're
this, and this on my own."
oversimplifying it. I feel like
Where,
you're
whereas we've
oversimplifying
already
it.
seen, whereas we've already seen her do this stuff. We know that
What
she
do you
did this on her
mean?
own.
That came after the fight.
We,
That's the same scene where she's
yeah, that's
explaining it.
after. Yeah,
We
that's
didn't see.
after the fight.
We didn't
But that
see
does
any
more for
scene.
Katie's character than for her, and they try to make it seem like it's for her character
How
when
does that
really
do
it's
more
just
for
for
Katie's
Katie's
character?
character.
I don't get like how you're turning Zhao Zuling having to go from the ground up. How is that good for Katie? Like I really don't get where
It
you're
does
coming
more
from
for
with
Katie's
this.
character because it shows Katie that she, as a female, she can do greater things than what she's doing right now.
So
It
then why
doesn't
is
do
it a
anything
problem
for
for Zhao
Shang-Chi's sister.
Zuling?
Why do you think that I'm saying it as it's a problem? I said it's a mixed thing. A mixed thing is not a good thing or a bad thing.
Because
It's
we're in
right there in the
negatives.
middle. Of
All right, look, we'll
obviously,
leave it here.
mixed
We'll
and
leave it here.
negatives are the
I
Can we
feel like
leave
same
it
we,
here?
I
thing.
feel like
Go to
we've
the
touched
future of
this.
the
I feel like
MCU.
we've touched this for too long. We'll just agree to disagree. Sharon's got his point. Me and Davis got ours. So let's just move on.
Future of the MCU and Phase 4. I mean, from those post-credit scenes, those mid and post-credit scenes, I honestly can't wait to see where this character leaves up.
Like I
Yeah.
said earlier, I feel like Shang-Chi and Katie, they really just have that charisma and screen presence to integrate well with the characters. These like post credit scenes and stuff, they really did like set up some interesting questions. Like, all right, where did Captain Marvel go?
Yeah.
What's up with the rings? And why is Bruce Bruce instead of Professor Hulk? I didn't catch that
Yeah,
the first time around.
definitely.
I didn't catch that the first time around until I watched it again and I realized, wait,
I
he's
didn't
Bruce.
either. I was looking on Twitter and I just realized someone posted something about, yo, why was
It's
Bruce
been
not
2 years
Smart Hulk?
since Endgame, so
I was
yeah.
like, yo, what?
I
How
was
did
like,
this go over
why
my head?
is he Bruce?
Wait,
One
wait,
thing I
you
want to
guys didn't
say,
know?
I didn't catch it the
no, I
first time
didn't
around.
realize,
Like I
bro.
didn't really pay
Really?
attention
That's
to
why
it.
I was like, why is he Bruce? Like,
One thing I want to touch on about the rings and the what you want to call it, the transmission, not transmission, but beacon, whatever.
Where do we think it's going?
I believe if it is going to be canon to the comics, it can be Maklu 4, the planet, and the Maklu
McLuhan's?
4,
The McLuhan's?
yeah,
Fin Fang
McLuhan's,
Foom.
whatever. Yeah, Fin Fang Foom, bro. Bring him,
That'd be pretty
please.
cool to see. But I
Please
feel
give
like
us
could
Fin
be.
Fang
I
Foom.
feel like this next phase is gonna focus on a bunch of like eternal stuff, so we could see one of the Eternals, one of the what is it? Who are the big guys?
Maybe.
Celestials,
And
or even
yeah, but
Kang.
they
Even
can't get
Kang.
involved unless
maybe,
it's deviant. So.
since we now know that the 10 rings go farther back than the 1,000
To
years,
me, it
um,
looked like something
it
quantum realm related.
could
Just
be it could be Eternals related, since Eternals will span over 7,000 years. We might get some insight to the rings.
to me, like just the way Wong presented, I don't know if that was just like to look visually good, but it looked like it was like something quantum realm with the way it like zoomed into the rings. So I don't know. It could be
Yeah.
Kang. It could be Celestials. Something to do with Eternals. It's just like props. We'll just have to
Mhm.
see whatever Shang-Chi pops up in, whether it be No Way Home, Doctor Strange 2, whatever
Eh.
they have planned next for him.
So yeah, I feel like the mid-credit scene was setting up something Avengers related, and the post-credit scene
Yeah,
was
post
setting
credit scene
something up
is. I feel
sequel
like
related.
I feel like that might be like Disney Plus thing. Like maybe they'll do something with Ten Rings, or
Maybe.
just setting up that the Ten Rings will now be a presence in the MCU going forward.
I mean, they're definitely going to be a presence inside of the MCU going forward. But you guys really think that? Well, I mean, Jonathan, do you think that Shang-Chi is going to appear in Doctor Strange 2 or No Way Home?
I would like to. I feel like out of those two, the most likely he is to appear in no is Doctor Strange 2. If because like obviously magical
Maybe
artifacts,
Doctor
whatever.
Strange 2.
I don't
think
really see
Spider-Man.
him appearing in No Way Home. I don't really see a reason
Yeah.
for him to appearing there, except just for the fact that he's associated with Wong and Doctor Strange now. But yeah, I do feel like at the very most we might get at least just know something's up with him in Doctor Strange too. I don't really see him coming in No Way Home.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, we're totally different people. Yeah, I don't see him appearing in either or. I just think that it's really too late for him to appear inside of there, and plus, I don't think the story warrants him to be there. But I definitely can't wait to see
Wait,
what they
actually,
do with him in the future.
When is Doctor Strange 2 coming out? Isn't it like
Next
May?
year.
Like next year?
March.
March?
March.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind. He's probably not going to be in that. It's just too close together.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to do that. But I can't wait to see what they do with him inside of the future, and with his sister becoming the new Mandarin. That seems pretty cool. I mean, it seems like a logical
quotations.
choice.
In quotations, Mandarin.
Yeah, it seems like a logical choice for her to become that because she spent the most time with the father.
Yeah,
But
so I feel like the Ten Rings are going to be like an anti-hero, somewhat. I don't really think they're going to be full villain, but Zhao's
mhm.
exactly like shining beacon of good. So I feel like
uh,
be an Arrow League of Assassins thing, but just like
I
I don't feel like they're going to be evil. So I feel like they're just really going to be like in their own self-interest, not evil.
well, well, maybe she can be like Sharon Carter in a sense. I think that she has. I had a little bit of reservations about her being a little bit antagonistic in the future of the MCU with the things that she do inside of this film and with the dialogue that she had inside of this film. So I think definitely she could become that antagonistic figure for the Ten Rings going forward. But that's just me. Let's move right into the conclusion. What are you guys' final thoughts on this film?
You go first, Jonathan.
But like I said, I feel like this really is for me personally. This is the first time I've been in a movie theater since Endgame came out all the way in what
Ah,
2019.
ah, Rona. Sorry,
I'm
continue.
legit about to ban one of y'all. But like I said, this is the first time I've been in a theater, so it really was like a good experience to me. Like we're already technically well through Phase 4 with what all the Disney Plus shows going on in Black Widow, even if you can really count that. But yeah, I feel like this really starts like I said, new era of Marvel, and I feel like this movie was really just like a fresh, like a good reel back into the MCU. It was unique, it was fresh, but it still had all those recognizable things that made it a Marvel movie. And yeah, I stick by my statement with this being top five.
Okay, okay. What about you, Davis?
Cap.
I
No,
might revert my I might revert my top five statement simply because I feel like I kind of said that off of the hype, but I don't know if I had to rank it on a list. Maybe we'll think about that in the future.
Definitely think
Um,
about that in the future.
uh, I mean, it was a great film. Definitely better than Black Widow. I'm not even gonna cap on that.
yes, sir. Yes,
Yes.
Um,
sir. Yes, sir.
Definitely, definitely, as of now, the best superhero film of the movie. It might, we'll see. It may or may not surpass the new Spider-Man, considering on how Spider-Man's gonna do. But I don't know, because Spider-Man is usually really good. But if I were
Mm-hmm.
to compare it to something like Far From Home, I actually don't know which one I'd pick on that. It's been a while since I've seen Far From Home.
Gee, that's an easy choice. You should
But
know
yeah,
that.
if I had to rank this out of 10, I'd probably give it like an 8.5.
Oh, okay. That's different. What about you, Jonathan? What's your little number ranking
Um,
before we get into the tier list?
um,
Whoa,
uh,
you didn't even rank it yet, Spencer.
yeah,
Yeah. What's your
I'm gonna give
thing?
it a, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
This top tier Marvel, top tier Marvel. It's not a
Top tier
10. It's
Marvel.
not a 10 out of 10
Bro,
like
we,
Captain
we all
Marvel, you
know
know, but it's a
Incredible
9 out of
Hulk's
10.
top. We all know Incredible
Definitely.
Hulk is better.
Incredible Hulk is up there. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Hello?
All right,
Come
so
on.
final thoughts. Final thoughts.
Final
Look,
thoughts.
hurry up.
I thought Shang-Chi was just an amazing film. I had an
Anything
amazing
under 8, you're
theatrical.
dying.
You just said 8. You just said
So
an
if y'all
8
don't
out
end
of
this
10.
video in the next
I
few
said
minutes, you're
8.5.
done.
Dude, I got you. Just an amazing epic story about a father and his family. I love the action and representation of it all. Can't wait to see what Shang-Chi does in the future. Love this film. I gotta give it a 9.7 out of 10. If we're going in decimals, 9 out of 10 or 9.7 out of
All right,
10.
well,
But
Sterling did
definitely,
that, so I gotta change
yeah.
my rank and give it a 10 out of 10 by now because I feel like I like the movie way more
Yeah.
than him.
It looks like mine's gonna have to go up to 9 now.
I'm gonna bump mine to a
9.
10 out of 10. But that was our Shang-Chi review and ranking. I
Spoiler.
know it was quite of a long one. I don't know how many of you watched to the end. But as always, thanks for watching. This time, don't go check out Sterling's channel because he was 40 minutes late. Make sure you
I
leave a
was
like and
not.
subscribe. Give Davis a good welcome back. See whatever he pops
And
in on for the next future.
and also for the future, I think the greatest thing about Shang-Chi is the fact that it is doing well at the box office because it is theatrical only. So
Jesus
that means
Christ.
Eternals can stay theatrical. That means we get to see.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll hit you. We'll see you guys next time with whatever comes next. Peace.